Members of this party are all
God-woken.
God-woken, so...
Looking around the room as she works her shoulder with one hand. It looks like it was dislocated by the gallows.
Damnable red cloak baboons ransacking my wardrobes, as if I would keep ancient valuable secrets in a pile with my unmentionables.
She takes a deep breath, and with a twist, a click, and a screech of pain, she shoves her shoulder back into its socket.
I swear by the seven, if we did not have more important matters to attend to.
Reaching across the table, she pulls a bowl of hot water towards her and fishes some bandages, a needle, and thread out of a box. She slowly starts to tend to her wounds.
At least the barbarians were unable to club their way into my vault, so everything you need should be safe.
All right. All right, she's going to hopefully teach us some stuff. All right.
In your case, more than I suspect, man, God or even reptile can provide. However, we must soldier on. It is not enough to be God-woken in order to ascend to divinity. There is a process.
As she speaks, the Meister uncorks a vial of shimmering liquid, sauce. She lets a couple of drops fall on her hand, but instead of infusing with her body, they quickly evaporate on her scales. She stares at the empty spot on her palm for a long moment before turning back to you, continuing as if nothing had happened.
A process by which God-woken may ascend. It begins with discovering your deepest self, delving into your own soul.
All right.
It's a lot of possible answers there.
Yeah. You can see some of these are about Sabile's story. Every one of these characters has its own story. And when you choose to play a character as your primary, you're getting that character's story predominantly, but you can still experience pieces of the other character's story as part of your own.
Okay.
So you get these dialogue options where it'll clearly say, this is something that's, right in line with her story.
At least you didn't have to go in and help get the dislocated shoulder back in order.
Enthusiasm? On a weekday? My word. We shall begin once we have the tools we need from my vault. You may have been chosen God-woken, but becoming divine requires more than a supernatural pat on the head. Come, God-woken. It is time to see just how awake you are. Fortunately, the Magisters pay as much attention to art as they do to fashion. Kindly remove that painting from the wall.
Okay.
I pray my instructions will not be too technical for you. Push the button. Your talent for following simple instructions fills me with wonder and pride. Now, kindly go to the vault and enter the combination. I shall call it out as you go.
Hatch with
A
intricate
stone
lock.
door lies flush with the floorboards. Etched whorls in the granite frame a delicate rotary dial. Gleaming under the dim light, the metallic dial almost seems to wink at you.
Ooh, it's daring you.
Enter the safe combination, as the Meister calls it out.
Taking your time, you carefully
crack your
enter the
knuckles.
combination. The metallic sounds of the tumblers falling within the mechanism let you know you entered the code correctly.
Not quite as exciting as trying to
Follow me.
force it open.
Your
No.
time is at hand, God-woken.
She must have dived down into the hatch.
Yeah.
Powerful awakening.
Now that's source right
Feel
there.
free to look about while
Ancient
I catch my
runes.
breath.
Weird contraptions.
Excuse me when you wish to proceed.
This place is an
And
arc in
try
his
not to
dream.
break anything in the meantime.
Okay. So if you look at the characters along the left-hand side, you can see that the Beast and the Red Prince have a little teal pill underneath their picture. That's basically saying that they're currently charged with source.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So let's separate everyone. Everyone's acting independently now. And I can take Ifan and I can go over here and stand him on the source and he'll absorb that.
Oh, sure. He used all of it.
Right.
Nice job, Yvonne.
Now Sabiel's going to go over here. Now what's going on here is the Meister is somebody that we assume at one point was able to use Source, but she's captured by the Magisters and they do something to her that causes her to not be able to absorb Source. That was the whole thing with her putting drops of it on her hand and it not absorbing.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the implication here, is that Source is not working for her anymore. All right, so we have to have Yvonne do this.
The Meister is examining her wounds, prodding at this, wincing at that. Her face seems grim as she turns to you.
Do you know what it means to have the power of the divine, Godwoken? A chance, yes, but it is much more than that. No, becoming the divine means taking on the power of all the gods and the responsibility for all the races.
Oh, I'm done here.
The divine was created by the gods to shelter us from the void. The divine cannot use his power for anything else.
All right. We understand.
Very
that.
well, then. Let's see if we can't snatch divinity from the jaws of the void.
Wow.
The ritual itself is quite simple. Drop some blackroot in the bowl, mix in a little blood, set the concoction aflame, and then inhale the smoke.
My parents told me not to do that.
No huffing.
No.
Ignore any feelings of dizziness, burning in your lungs, or a dire sense of existential dread. They're all perfectly normal, although you will need to sacrifice a little sauce along the way.
Here's a paper bag and some spray paint.
Yeah.
Great.
Everything you need is here. Ingredients in the cupboard. Sauce in the glowing fountain. Ritual in the tome by the bookcase. Even an incinerator to provide a flame.
Terrific.
Wow, she's
The
just like a
Meister looks
dealer.
back at her wounds, curiously prodding them as fresh blood oozes out, staining her claws.
Well, there you got some blood.
And do not lose anything. These ingredients are rare indeed. I'm not hiking back out to the cloisterwood to fetch you more blackroot.
She's a testy one.
Yeah, she is. Okay, so the crafting in this game is for me at first was just and still is to some way mystifying. There's some things that are really obvious, but they present these scenarios with you where you're kind of like, okay, what was I supposed to do again? You don't know where everything is. And then there's also this question of how does it actually fit together?
Mm-hmm.
Opening the door, you see a selection of ingredients, thrown together in no particular order. After a quick rummage, you spot the blackroot nestled between the grated dragon's tongue and Drudenay oil. You gather up the blackroot, obsidian lance, and ancient bowl, and kick the door of the cupboard closed.
Ka-chunk.
All right. So we're getting journal updates, and then we also have... This is the most prominent book, so... Okay. Place a single piece of blackroot in ritual bowl. Draw blood with obsidian lance. So these are things that should be in our inventory.
It says your own blood is most convenient, but can you use hers?
I don't know.
I mean, she's over there
Well-
poking at herself.
Let's see if we can figure out where everything is. Okay, here's the bowl. Here's the root. There's the lance. Okay. So if we look at crafting panel.
Ooze barrel.
Yeah, we'll talk about the ooze barrel in a little bit. Okay, so bowl,
Mm-hmm.
black root, combine. That gives us a bowl of black root. Okay. Now we find the lance. Where was that again? Here.
Mm-hmm.
Now this,
It
I
thirsts
think we
for
just
blood.
use it. Ow. Okay. Now,
Ow.
this is kind of weird, though. I mean, to me, it's not always obvious how this stuff
You're
is
supposed to put it
work.
in a jar.
So
Don't
now
put-
it's been
don't put it in the
classified
beer.
as something else.
The blood has been classified as something else.
No, the lance. Once I got blood on it, it went out of the category that it was in.
Oh.
Here it is, right here. Okay, so now I'm going to put bowl, lance, combine. Okay.
Now you got bloody blackroot.
Yep. And now we got to put it on a flame, and she said there was an incinerator
Mm-hmm.
for that. So let's... That's a pot. Stove. Incinerator. Ah, okay. So, what do we just drop it? No, it's not that. Where is it?
Far. Oh, you were just there. You were looking for the
Oh,
bowl.
right there.
Far right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so let's
It's
drop
ready
it.
for the ritual. He really did just kind of fling it.
Yeah, he did.
And say, "Do you want to get off?
Ah,
Do you need to move it to the middle of the falling?" Yes. You've used up 2 turns for that.
yes. All right, there we go.
Go huffing.
Go
As you
huff.
suck the smoke deep into your lungs, your vision starts to swim and cloud. There is an intense pounding in your head, and you can feel the world fading.
Hold the fumes in your lungs and ignore the thumping in your head.
As the world fades away, you lose all sense of being grounded. You reach out, but you could feel yourself falling slowly,
Sweet, I'm not
sinking into
grounded
the depths
anymore.
of your own soul.
Whoa. Trippy, man. What did it say? This is the deepest recesses of my soul?
Something like that.
Somebody got a little too much coal for Christmas. Oh.
Bathed in the half-light of these starless barrens, you spot a figure you could only describe as a second self. It looks haggard and weak, its very voice but a feeble echo of your own.
Ivan, my wolf! Come closer, so that you may see me as I truly am. Look me in the eyes.
The apparition clasps your face in its shaking hands. You suddenly feel your eyes tingle. Everything becomes brighter.
Your
sharper.
eyes tingle.
Blacks and whites become glorious bursts of color, then fade back into their accustomed spectrum.
Tingly eyes.
Blind eyes, shine brightly. Speak the spell and see.
You definitely need a subwoofer with this game. Excellent. Was that 10,000 experience points?
Something like that, yeah. So, okay, here's the This is a panel where we can actually slot the things that we want to use, right? So you have an attribute in the game called memory. Depending on how high your memory is, that determines how many available slots you have here for slotting things like skills and spells and other abilities, right? So, and then over on this page, this is going to show you all of the spells or skills that you've learned. And so you basically pick the ones that you want to use on a given day, right? You drag them and drop them into an available memory slot is kind of how that works, right? So in this case, I don't have to use a slot here. This is a kind of an innate ability, so it doesn't require a memory slot. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag it down here into my hotbar, so it's convenient for me to get at it when I need it.
What are the other stats that you see down there when you hover over those abilities?
These?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is kind of telling you what each thing does.
Gotcha. I was just trying to see because you were going over it and I was trying to see it. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Yep. So this will give you an explanation for what it does, and then the number there is associated with once you use it, how many rounds it lasts, what is its duration, and then the green dot on top is an indication of how many action points it takes in order to use that power or cast that spell.
Sweet.
So you can kind of see as you go across here, you can see how expensive some of these moves are. So if you've got a total of say 6 action points in a combat round, that'll give you some clue as to how to economize or what you can expect to get out of it.
Gotcha. How much juice for the squeeze?
Right. That's correct, Matt. All right. And as we kind of cruise through here, you can see how Beast is set up, right? So they're all kind of, it's the same deal.
Trippy.
Not Matt.
So you couldn't do that or could?
Could not.
Okay.
See, it says that it requires 1 slot in pyrotechnic or 1 level in pyrotechnic, which she doesn't have.
Gotcha.
Somewhere along the line, she learned the skill, but she doesn't have that level, so it's not available to her. If she takes 1 level in kinetic, then she would be able to use that. But we got an available memory slot here, so we can use one of these other ones. We got some cool ones we haven't tried before. We got Ricochet, we've got Barrage. Fire 3 arrows at 3 targets of your choice.
Nice.
Or fire a normal arrow that deals 64 to 79 physical damage with poison, and then finds another target within 5 meters and forks 2 times. So let's add that one. Besides just adding it, let's make sure it's on our bar here. And better than that, let's put it here.
What's the difference in the order?
No difference. I just like to try and group things together.
Okay.
So
I didn't know if it made a difference
No.
somehow in speed to recollection or something.
Nope. Nothing like that. Just
Alrighty.
convenience more than anything. All right, so
Very soothing sort of Andean music going on in the background.
I know, right? So we'll take one of these. I'm going to put it down here. Now, some of the innate abilities are racial abilities too, those kinds of things. Skill not met. What is I'm missing there? Oh, okay. God, could have swore I'd cast that one before.
Raining blood.
Yeah, you can make it rain blood and then use like electrocution and stuff like that. It's pretty wild. On this one, Need source to do that. Okay. So I think Beast is pretty much good to go. Just want to make sure nobody's got any open slots we could be taking advantage of, but are not. That would not be good. All right, so he wants me to cast this.
God is the strange mirror image of yourself. Before you stands the god Ralik in all his spectral glory.
You know me now, don't you? I saved you from drowning. I blessed you, made you powerful. And now I've come to seek some power in return.
Of course.
Your God-woken soul is my last refuge, my last
I
bastion.
like this guy's voice a
May
lot.
as well make the best of what you have to offer.
Ralik nourishes himself from the source that abounds in your presence. You feel deep down inside yourself.
That's disturbing.
Ah, yes. Just what I needed. I tell you, dying just doesn't become a god. Don't you dare to be ungrateful after all I've done for you. I sheltered you. Now you must shelter me. The void itself is hunting down the gods, leeching us in ways we never thought possible. Droplet by droplet, we are being drained. We're battling for our very survival. It's a battle we're losing, and should we truly lose, all will be cast into oblivion.
All right. Point out that hiding in your soul, by hiding in your soul, he's turning you into a target for every void woken in the world.
Well,
Sort of.
But by all means, let that be a motivator, not a cause for concern.
Right.
You must realize, Ifan, that our fates are now as one, just as our souls are now as one. We are I. Together we are a force to be reckoned with. But if we seek to survive the onslaught of the void, we stand no chance unless we become vastly more powerful than we are now.
Sweet. Help us out.
That means there is but one place we can go. The Well of Ascension.
What's that?
It is a lake, a pool of pure source in which the powers of the Seven lie united. We gave them up freely to create the first divine. Each of us donated half of that which makes us gods. To bathe in the lake is to become our chosen. That is where the road to divinity leads, and you must be the first to reach it at all costs.
Hold on. Wait, I like that. Hold on. The gods once gave away half their powers just like that?
It was a time of selflessness and sacrifice in the face of our old enemy. It was an act of heroism and a dreadful
Sounds like
mistake.
Lorcan, doesn't it?
A mistake we
The
must
Aedra.
rectify.
Giving away their
The
power.
void is stronger than ever. A new divine won't be enough. You need to go to the Well of Ascension, not to bathe in the source of the Seven, but to take it. All of it. Only he who claims everything will be everything. The void's doom. This world's liberator.
No pressure. Just go do it.
So you must steal the powers of other gods. That's uncomfortable.
Whatever for. The other gods will either bow to you or be undone. But of course, that is what they are saying to their own god woken as we speak. We both know they won't bow, just like we both know you will never bow to them. Only one can become a god strong enough to safeguard our world. One, at the expense of all others.
There can be only
So
one.
make no mistake,
That's
Ifan.
right.
Chances are the road to divinity will be paved with dead gods, their blood on your blood-red hands. But don't let that dismay you, for these sins will be washed clean by the knowledge you committed them to save all of existence, to save your kin, and your loved ones, and the world they live in.
All right.
And now only divinity can save what remains. You no longer trust in the Order, Ifan, but you must trust in me. If you choose life, you choose the well of ascension. I will lead you there when you're ready, when you've become a true master of the Source and speak the language of creation itself. Our journey will be fraught with peril. It is a pilgrimage of challenges that will require you to command Source like only a God-woken can, and wield its most powerful spell.
I'm just imagining the guys from Monty Python, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Sounds a bit like Jude Law. Yeah, I like that one.
Which one?
2,
3?
I kind of like 3, but, you know. It's up to you. You're a man. You're a
Coarse
captain.
laughter rolls and echoes into infinity.
Perhaps. But what is a pilgrimage after all, if not a journey of atonement in search of enlightenment? Focus not on death and irony, Ithan. You've had enough of those. It's time to turn your lupine gaze to life and ascension instead. We are I now. The spells you need to know I will teach you when you are ready. But first, you must learn to channel the Source in greater volumes. That is why you need to seek masters of the Source. You must make them teach you, so that you may become a master in turn. So, return to Rivellon and seek out these sages where they dwell. Convince them to share with you their deep-seated bond with the Source. Once you have, you may return to me here.
What'd you do to my eyes?
Something that will make you understand that for a god, there is precious little difference between the living and the dead.
Ooh.
Source is. It is a constant, a subject of neither time nor transience. All of life is Source, and in Source it is, immortally so. You have the vision of a god now. Eyes that can see spirits, the souls of the dead made manifest in Source. Speak the spell during your peregrinations, and you will see them. Where the dead lie, the dead linger. Best of luck, Ben Mezd.
Whoa.
All right, we got the sauce.
Eye sauce. Great.
The
Back into the
monster stares
hallucinogenic
intently
smoke
at
cloud.
you. Her eyes are tired and bruised, but determined.
Bruised, but determined.
Still alive? Gods above, there might be something to you after all.
Oh, goody.
She leans in, her bloody tongue flickering hungrily about your face.
Tell me, what did you see? What you know?
She sighs impatiently as you hack up the last of the green smoke.
You can't travel without
Thank you, Matt.
sauce. Gods be damned, why couldn't you have a nice simple problem?
Added some value tonight.
Finding an
Yeah.
orc to dance the hornpipe, perhaps. I know exactly what must be done. You must find a master of sauce. And I could have helped you once, but no longer. The purging which the Magisters included as part of their service was quite efficient. They stripped me of my sauce. Not enough to silence me, but enough that I would not turn their insides to lime. Enough to sever
Well,
my leg to the
nasty.
font from which all sauce flows.
I like her
Certainly
outfit.
enough that I cannot train you.
All right.
So we must seek alternatives. Alas, the only sauce masters not yet hauled off to Fort Joy or turn into meat puppets are those too dangerous or cunning for the Magisters to contain.
Meat puppets.
Sorcerers that allowed their power to corrupt them.
She's great.
Many
I
are
love her
wicked,
dialogue.
cruel, vile, and generally not good teacher material, but we may have no others to turn to.
She really is just so dainty in her discussion about all of these people who've been slaughtered.
Yes.
So
Wait.
it's quite all right.
Do I need to study with evil sorcerers?
You will not be there long, I assure you. There is only so much you can glean from a twisted mind.
But bring me a donut.
Users of the sauce are saucier, aren't they?
However, it is the path we walk. No,
Only when there's a meat